Right, welcome everyone. My name is Daniel, and this is a tutorial on how to tie a fishing flag called the Superpuppa. Superpuppa is Swedish, it means super poopa. Uh, First, I'm going to show you what kind of tools I use. I use this is a vise. It's for placing your hook in so it sticks, so that you can use both your hands for other stuff. uh, I'm going to use one of, no, sorry, not that one. One of these. This metal thing is called a bobbin holder, and this one, the bobbin, the spool, has thread that I will use to tie the fly. I'll also use a pair of scissors. You need a good pair of scissors if you want to do this. These are sadly not that good. And I will use this one. It's called a whip finisher. You use it to tie a knot at the end of the fly, actually. I'm not going to show you or demonstrate how to use this. For that, you would have to find another tutorial. You can also tie a knot with your hands. I'm going to try and show you both. All right, so those are the tools. Vise, bobbin holder, scissors, and whip finisher. Materials then, you need a hook. I'm going to use this one. It's called Hens BL454. I use a size 10, which is a kind of a large hook, and I use that because it will, well, it will be easier to actually see what I'm doing. I'm also going to be using dubbing, which is basically fuss. This is from a duck's ass, actually. I'm going to use yellow, and I'm going to use green. I use this dubbing because it's kind of easy to use. I'll show you how to do that later. And it's also, it floats really well. So this is a floating fly. I want it to float, so I use things that float. Last but not least, I'll use, no, not last. Next step, next material is one feather like this. This is from a rooster. It's really long and quite thin. And you use it for when you put a hackle on the fly, which is basically when you twist it around the hook to help with the floating also. Last but not least, back here with the bobbin holder and the bobbin, on the bobbin we have thread. This thread is brown. Its thickness is called 8/0, which is kind of a normal thickness of thread. Not thread. All right. So step one, fasten the hook in the vise like that. Make sure it's kind of even, right? You don't want it pointing downwards because it makes it harder. Not too much upwards either. Then grab your thread, put it across the hook, and then wind away from you and wind across the thread stump here, okay, so that the thread sticks on the hook. You should be able to just leave it like that, and it will still be on there. Woohoo! Cut away the small piece of thread, the leftovers, and wind the thread back towards the hook bend. The hook bend is where the hook starts to bend. Up here we have the hook eye. So next step then, yellow dubbing. No, my bad. Next step is the feather, okay? Like this. You want to start at the bottom. This is the tip where it's getting thinner and thinner. So here down at the bottom, you rip away from both sides of the stem. You rip away the fibers. So you get a piece of naked stem. Hold it on top of the hook and just wind the thread around like this. Do like 4 or 5 or something. Make sure it's stuck. Okay. You can do a couple more also. And then cut away. Oops, crap, scissors, like I said. Cut away the leftovers. All right. If you have one of those these spring things, these are good to have in your vise, then you can just push the feather into that and it will stay out of your way. Then we have the dubbing. I'm going to start with the yellow, this one, and I'm going to get like a good pinch of dubbing like this. I'm going to unwind the thread for a bit, and then I'm going to hold the dubbing between my thumb and my forefinger in my right hand. I'm right-handed, so that's why I use my right hand for the difficult parts. And then hold it around the thread, put pressure on it, and twist. Always only twist in one direction. Doesn't matter too much which direction, but twist in one direction until you get it to stick on the thread like this. Okay. You can do this like piece by piece. You can put a little on, and then you can see if it's enough, and if it's not, you can put more on, and so on. I think that this will be not really enough, so I'm going to use a little bit more. Again, unwind it, pressure, and twist like that. Okay, then we're just going to wrap this around the hook. Okay, starting where we fasten the feather. Okay, and then moving towards the hook eye like this. I want like 2/3 of the hook to be yellow, which means that I got it wrong. I have too much, and I have to take some away. Fasten it again, and then when I'm here, I'm done with the yellow. Now I'll go to the green one, do the same thing, get a smaller pinch because I only have 1/3 of the hook left. Hold it, thumb forefinger like this, and around the thread, twist, and pressure. Another small I don't know, sausage thing around the thread, and again just wind it around the thread till you get almost to the hook eye. Okay, if you get too close, you can push it back just a little bit. So nice. Next step, the feather, this one, you want to wind the feather around the hook, same way you did with the thread just now, but you don't want, you want like space between the turns, like 1 millimeter of space perhaps. So you just go carefully around the hook. I always wind the hackle away from me. That's how I do it. It's easier, I think. And as you can see now, I did the whole hook. I'm up against the hook eye almost. Then I hold the feather, keep tension on it, and I go across with the thread. Whoops, across the feather. No, crap. Across the feather. Like that, okay? And I do that a couple of times. 3 perhaps. And then I push it all back like this, and I do a couple of winds, a couple of turns in front of everything. Okay, now I want to cut away the part of the feather that I'm not using, this part. I try to do that as close to the hook as I can without cutting anything else. Like that. All right, now the fly is actually done. I'll do a couple more winds just to make sure that there's nothing in the way in front of the hook eye when I want to attach my line. And then I will tie knots. Okay, one way to do this is to do half hitches. It's basically just when you cross the thread, make it go across itself. Oops, can you see this? Like that. And then you put it over the hook, and then you just slowly make sure that the knot ends up in the right place, like that. If you do half hitches using your hands, do more than one, like 3 or 4 perhaps. You can also use this one. Again, I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do this because it's too much hassle. But this one ties knots. Like that, and perhaps another one. All right, now getting closer to the end, cut away the thread. If we have fibers sticking out in front of the hook guy, cut them away. Again, you don't want anything to be there when you attach the line, like this. And last but not least, flip the fly upside down and cut away everything from the bottom of the fly, all the microfibers. So it's even on the underside. Okay, that will mean that when it lands on the water, it will stay on the water, not like half a centimeter above it. It will still float. Okay, so that was me, Daniel, tying the Superpuppa or Superpuppa. Famous Swedish pattern, good for almost everything when it comes to grayling, trout, char, whatever. Again, remember to take it easy when you do this. Remember to do it one step at a time, and you'll be okay. I would like to thank you for watching. See ya.